In this video, I'm going to talk about, is it worth buying a Tesla here in Australia? Here in Australia, what I found is living in Brisbane is probably worth it. Living in Sydney, I don't know. When I used to live in an apartment, it was hard for us to charge the vehicle. So for us at the current stage, we live in a house that have a solar panel inside. There's a garage, and we charge them during the day on a sunny day like today, and we're offsetting it using solar. Overall costs in the past month alone in December, we're using the air condition pretty much daily, day and night. During the day it's too hot, during the night it's still hot, it's still humid, sticky, and we turn on the aircon. We also use the car on a regular basis, and we charge them throughout the day when we don't use them at home, and when we go out we don't usually charge them in a supercharger or outside of home pretty much. The only occasion that we actually use the supercharger if we're really desperate, and when we want to go on vacation, and when we were, let's say, interstate. So throughout our time in Brisbane, we have not used a supercharger at all. Overall, is it worth it? I believe so, because it's actually cheaper owning a car on a Tesla versus any petrol car. Number one is the servicing costs. I've done nearly 27, call it 30,000 kilometers on my vehicle. So far, I had a guy coming in to service the vehicle, twice? Yeah, twice. And I have rotated my tires twice or once? Twice, I think it is. And that's it. Overall, that's costing me, the tire rotation I did at Costco cost me about $30 while I was actually doing my grocery shopping. The guy coming in, I think it's like $150. I can't remember how much it was, but about that much. Let's say worst case scenario, it's about $200 is outlay over 30,000, nearly $30,000 on the clock. 30,000 kilometers on the clock. So that, a typical, let's say if that was a normal petrol car, running costs on a, let's say, servicing, $300 per 10,000 Ks, let's say $300 to $400. So that's about, let's say, $900 to $1,000 or so over, I say, 30,000 kilometers on the clock. So yeah, in that aspect of it, it's cheaper. There's no error on the vehicle. If there is an error in the vehicle, it tells you. If the tire pressure is actually a bit lower on a certain tires, it tells you. If you're running low on fuel between a destination to another destination, like from point A to point B, it tells you where to go to charge. The technology is actually getting a lot more better and better. As the more frequent you drive, the more improvement the car will do, the more data that Tesla have, and the more update it will have. The fact that I can turn on the aircon about 5-10 minutes before you're actually in the car, that's a great advantage, especially on hot summer humid days here in Brisbane. Most of the time we go along driving, a highway driving, let's say, it sort of take the pressure on you as a driver. You're not as tired because you don't really have to scan as much. The autopilot system alone, I had never seen any vehicles that can do better than this. Okay, mind you, probably the boot space is probably not as good, but we don't go out on vacation every day. It's only for a daily commute, like going to the shop, doing grocery shopping, do our big Costco shopping once a fortnight, and that's enough in the boot. What else is there? I feel like back a long time ago, when we were from a Nokia, you have the options of upgrading it to a BlackBerry or an iPhone. That was where I was: BlackBerry, iPhone, or Android. Those are the three at a certain point in life. So we chose to have iPhone as the next stage. From then on, I haven't actually tried Samsung or Android phone, and you kind of stick in that ecosystem. So buying a Tesla, I feel like it's the same thing. It's that ecosystem. Once you buy a Tesla, you don't want to have another vehicle because the charger might be a little bit different, the cabling might be a bit different. So instead of having that problem, I'm probably going to, if I'm going to upgrade, I'm going to buy another Tesla. Same thing with the phone. As soon as you're on an iPhone, you're probably going to upgrade to an iPhone. Same thing with the computers. I'm a Mac person, and I'm in the ecosystem of Apple ecosystem, so I don't want to try a Windows operating system, let's say, because it's a lot easier using a Mac, and that's what I've been using over a decade long or so. The single pedal driving, the self ICS drive assist, let's say, the autopilot, those features is what you don't get on the same dollar figure vehicle. On a petrol car, so you have to go to petrol station, whereas us, we're charging them at home. We're always going to have 80 to 100% fuel tank nearly every day when we drive them. The other occasion, like yesterday and the day before, like over the weekend, let's say, we probably have from 80 to maybe 50, and then going back to about 70%. So we, overall, during the week when we don't use them, we're always going to have a full tank. During the weekend, the next day, it's not going to be a full tank. Let's say maybe about 80% or so, and yeah. The only reason that we go to a petrol station is actually buying a Slurpee because sometimes it gets really hot. Downside on the vehicle, on the other hand, the sunroof, because it's all glass, it gets really hot sometimes, especially if you're sitting at the front. When you're sitting at the back, it's not as hot. Maybe it's the angle. The other one would be the fact that it has a camera all around. You get alerted if there's somebody near it or touches your vehicle. That's equivalent to an extra, I don't know how much a dash cam these days, maybe about, even at the lowest point, I remember buying a cheap dash cam, let's say about $50, $100 or so. And it tells you every time if there's an alert. If there's no alert, they would not be notified. Everywhere you go, it's got a GPS system as well. So wherever the car is going, let's say my wife went for a bushwalking with one of our friends, and I've never been there. Like, I don't know where you are. You're in the middle of the bush somewhere. I kind of see where the vehicle is going at any given time. I kind of see the speed of the vehicle, how much battery does she got when she goes out and about. You can track the vehicle. So the chances of somebody stealing your car is very slim because they need either your phone or the physical equivalent to your credit card, your key, your physical key for the car. So those little features, now I'm looking at, I think the brand new car and the brand new Model Y is roughly about $60,000 to $70,000 or so. If I was going to spend that amount of money on a vehicle, I would probably buy a Tesla. In fact, I'm looking at my son now. He's just about 9 years old, and in about 10 years time he's going to start driving, and I can't foresee him purchasing I guess a petrol car because it is more comfortable. It is much cheaper to run on a Tesla, way cheaper. So yeah, I bought a Tesla because I'm cheap. I bought the Tesla because it's the most economical way over long term, over the 10 years span of owning the vehicle. I bought this car because I can see myself, my last car, I think it lasted about 6 or 7 years or so. Previously before that, I think it's like 4 to 5 years. So I could see myself owning this for the next 10 years. I can't see myself as in trading it, get a newer one or get an upper model. Only been because it's 3 or 4 years. No, I can see this car probably going to get given to our children. So that got me in a little bit of perspective. I can remember when I first started learning how to drive. It was 1984-5 Toyota Corolla, where it's like no power steering, no power windows. So it's one of those windows. And now I'm looking at my son, it's like, wow, you got all of this technology in the palm of your hand when you actually started driving. So unless the updates stop releasing, or if not, they don't support the vehicle anymore, that's when I started to possibly update, if they decided to do that. Because at the moment, Model S is not being sold in Australia. Model Y is not being sold in Australia. It's only Model 3 and Model Y and Model 3 is the only vehicle that is being sold here in Australia as of 2025. So the other two model is not, or three models is not being sold here in Australia. So high possibility if I'm going to buy another vehicle, it'll be another a Model Y, or if not, a small version, which is a Model 3. So now, if you're thinking of buying Tesla, then I highly recommend maybe just drive around, because you can actually test drive them for about an hour, I believe it is, or 45 minutes or something like that, where you figure out bits and pieces while you're driving around. For us, our garage is slightly small, and we're probably going to get another like Model 3 in the future, because I don't think I can fit two Model Y side by side in our garage. So yeah. Overall experience, it's one of the best experience that I've experienced on a vehicle. But mind you though, this is the first and probably only brand new car that I ever purchased. Next one, it will be secondhand, maybe secondhand from a dealership. Yeah, overall it's been good. Recommended. Cheap to run. If you buy secondhand, buy it from a dealership. If you're not comfortable buying it from a second-hand, from a private entity or so. That's just my 2 cents, guys. If you like this type of content, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and I will see you on the next video.